Timothy Adegoke was a loving father, a wonderful husband, a loving sibling, and an all-round wonderful person. And so on the 5th of November 2021, he decided to travel from Abuja to Ile-Ife, and he lodged in a hotel. So on the 5th of November in the evening, he actually called his wife and spoke to the wife, and so the wife was aware that he lodged. But little did he or his wife know that that would be the last time they will ever see Timothy Adegoke alive. If this is your first time of coming across my channel, I would like to welcome you to my channel. My name is Jennifer, and on this channel, our goal is to talk about some of the craziest true crimes you can ever imagine all around the world. So whatever it is some fellow humans done that very nasty, that makes you wonder that is this person sane? Best believe we're going to talk about it on this channel. So what I want you to do now is to like and comment. But please, when you're commenting, make sure your comments are very civil and they don't drag anybody, please. Now, if you have any case that you want me to talk about, you can kindly drop it in the comment section. Now, I would like to start from Timothy himself. Timothy, after he died, people that knew him personally actually came out. Apart from the fact that he was a wonderful father, he was a husband and he had 3 kids. Then his sister came out, and his sister actually spoke about how wonderful he is, that he's a very selfless person. And some of his work colleagues actually attest to the fact that he's very selfless, that he goes out of the way to make everybody feel comfortable, that he's very generous, like he's an all-round wonderful person. So now you might be wondering that what has a Nigerian chief, a very prominent chief, got to do with this man that we're talking about. Now I'll break it down for you. If you know Nigeria very well, Timothy Adegoke was living in Abuja, which is the federal capital territory. That means the capital of Nigeria. He was living there. However, he was pursuing a master's degree in Ile-Ife. Ile-Ife is in Osun State, and it is way, like, it's very far from Abuja. You understand? It is very, very far. I'm very conversant with Ile-Ife because I went to Obafemi Awolowo University. So it's a small university community. Do you understand? It's just a town, but it's a university town, and it's a thriving town, because at least in that town we have a university and we have a polytechnic in that town. And so he decided to pursue his master's degree from Obafemi Awolowo University, which is one of the most prestigious universities in Nigeria. And so what he does is, when it's close to exam period, he traveled all the way from Abuja. Of course, since he was not on campus, he doesn't have any hostel on campus. So what he does is, when he gets to Ile-Ife, he will lodge in a hotel in Ile-Ife. That's how he does it. So when he finishes in his exam, he will go back to Abuja, because he actually has a 9 to 5 job that he does. And so on this day, November 5th, 2021, he had exam. His exam was slated to start the next week after that November 5th. So he traveled all the way from Abuja to Ile-Ife and lodged at a hotel. The hotel that I lodged in is called Hilton Top, and it is a very popular hotel in Ife. If you know anybody that went to AU, or anybody that knows Ife, or even in Osun State, they will tell you that that hotel is very popular. Why is it popular? Because it is owned by one of the most prominent chiefs in southwest Nigeria. The person known as Ramon Adedoyin. So this particular chief is very popular and is very, very rich. He has a school. There is a popular school along that Ife Ibadan Expressway, Oduduwa University, Ipetumodu. He owns it. Then he also owns Hilton Hotel. It is a very popular hotel. I'm emphasizing it to know how popular it is. In fact, you can be hearing the man's name on radio, TV station. He is like the creme de la creme of Southwest. He is very popular and very rich. So this Timothy Adegoke man, he used to lodge in that particular hotel, because the hotel is like one of the best in Ife. So it's not his first time. It's not like it's the first time that he just went to a hotel and lodged. No, he has been lodging there for a while. Anytime he has his exam, he goes there and lodge at the hotel. So he just did the same thing that day, November 5th, 2021. He decided to go to the hotel. When he got back from Abuja and he arrived at Ile-Ife, he lodged at the hotel, and he was assigned room number 305. So when he got into his room, he picked up his phone and called his wife to let the wife know that I have gotten to Ile-Ife and I've lodged at the hotel. Since it's not the first time that he's traveling to Ile-Ife, obviously, so his wife is already aware that he is staying in Hilton Top. She doesn't need to ask him where he's staying because it is his routine. That is where he stays anytime he goes to Ife. And so he just spoke to her, told her that I will talk to her the next day. He needs to rest. Of course, he was traveling for a very long distance. I told you that the distance is very far. So he was traveling for a very long distance. And so he told the wife that I'm going to see you later, or I'm going to talk to you the next day. And so they ended the call. Little did the wife know that that was the last time she was going to talk to her husband. So when it was November 6th, 2021, she started, like the next day, started trying his number. She started calling him and trying his number. His number was ringing, but nobody was picking. Initially, there was no cause for alarm because she might just assume that maybe he was busy, and when he was less busy, he's going to call her back. However, it continued. He didn't pick her call for long period. So she tried his number throughout the day. He didn't pick. And of course, when it was evening and she has been trying her husband's number, the husband did not pick. She decided to now reach out to his family and actually inform the family that my husband traveled all the way from Abuja to Ile-Ife for his master's degree exam, and so I haven't been able to reach him since the previous day. And so the family were trying to reach him too, and they could not reach him. So 2 days later, that is November 8th, they now reached out to the university, that is Obafemi Awolowo University, to actually know whether to make a complaint since he was their student, and he is the reason why he traveled all the way was because he wanted to write exam. And so they actually reached out to the university, only for the university to confirm that yes, so Timothy Adegoke is their student, quite alright. However, he missed his examination. And since he missed his examination, nobody has seen him since he got to Ife. They declared him wanted, and so they reported to the police, and police started the investigation. So one of the easiest way to actually investigate someone in Nigeria, they checked his financial record because it's very easy. You will know who he transferred money to or who transferred money into his account. And so police started investigating. That was how they discovered that on the 5th of November, Timothy Adegoke actually transferred the sum of 37,500 to a particular Adeshola. So when the police knew that, before the police actually knew that he transferred money, they've gone to the hotel because the wife told the police that anytime my husband is in Ile-Ife, he lodges at Hilton Hotel. So they actually got to the hotel and they saw the receptionist, and they asked the receptionist that, please, oh, we are looking for so person. They did lodge. The receptionist denied it, that they did not lodge anybody bearing that name. That nobody bearing Timothy Adegoke have ever lodged there or lodged there that particular day. So they even brought out their books for the police to see. Police saw it and they discovered that okay, there's nobody. That means he didn't lodge there. But of course, the wife was insisting that no, he lodged there because I spoke to him the day he lodged there, and he told me that he was going to lodge at that particular hotel. And so when the police now started doing investigation, they now checked his account history, and they now discovered that on that 5th of November, he actually sent the sum of 37,500 to a particular person called Adeshola. So they traced the person who is called Adeshola, and of course, the person now happened to be one of the receptionists in Hilton Hotel. Remember, those ones denied earlier that he never lodged. And so when the police got there, the police actually arrested that Adeshola. That okay, come and explain. Why is it that you said you will not? You guys said this man did not come to your hotel. However, the money that he was transferred to you. If he didn't come, how was he able to transfer the money? Why did he transfer the money to you? What are you to him? So when they started asking such questions, that was how Adeshola now actually confessed that she will say that the truth will be said, that the man, that is Timothy Adegoke, it was true that he actually came to Ile-Ife and he lodged at that hotel. So when he now confessed like that, they shall held him. But since they now said, okay, what happened to him? He refused to talk. He was just rambling. So they didn't get anything. So they started searching for the man. They searched for him from November 5th. Finally, on November 21, that's roughly 2 weeks after he went missing, between the road, like on an expressway, they actually discovered his body. And so when they discovered his body, they actually picked the body. They discovered that when they discovered his body, they actually transferred his body to a teaching hospital in Osun State. That's the capital of Osun State. They transferred him there. And so the pathologist was actually doing autopsy on his body. That was how the pathologist discovered that his body was wrapped with bed sheets. And on where they discovered him, his phones were there. That was why when the phone was ringing, all this why he was not picking, because he dumped him and his phone. So immediately they discovered the body, the police now went back to the hotel and arrested most of the staff members that were on duty that day that lodged him. And they also arrested the owner of the hotel, which happens to be Ramon Adedoyin, the high chief that we are talking about on today's case. So they arrested everything. And you know now, when they arrest people like that, of course, police will use their tactics, kind of isolate them and interrogate them. During the interrogation, that was how they now started confessing that one of the receptionists now confessed that truly Timothy Adegoke actually came to the hotel. He's their regular customer because he usually lodged there. He came and he lodged at that hotel. However, what happened between when he lodged and when he died, nobody knew. The only what she knows was that the son of the high chief that owns the hotel, his own name is Rohim. You understand? You know the Mon is the owner of the hotel. He has a son known as Rohim. That one acts as the managing director of the hotel. So she now said the Rohim now came to meet them that they need to swear an oath of secrecy that whatever it is that happened at that hotel that night, nobody is going to talk. And so they wrapped Timothy's body and went to dump him along that express where they saw him. They also dumped his phone. And so after they did that, the owner of the hotel, that is the chief, now told them that the Hilux van or the truck that was used to convey his body, in order for them to throw away evidence, that they should travel with that truck. They should go and dump that truck in Abuja, so police will not be able to trace it. And so when people started confessing, all the various people, in total they actually arrested 6 people plus the chief, making 7. So when they started confessing, that was how police now started piecing together all the events, and they discovered that it was that same fifth that Timothy Adegoke lodged into the hotel. It was that same fifth that he was killed. And after he was killed, his body was wrapped in a bed sheet because his body was filled with injuries. So his body was wrapped in a bed sheet and it was dumped along Ede Road. So because of that, they now started the investigation. Of course, we are in Nigeria, and during investigation, there are bound to be some weird, funny place. Number one, remember that the truck that they used to transport this man's body, they actually the chief actually told them to drive the truck down to Abuja. So they had to subpoena the truck. They had to bring the truck back from Abuja back to Osun State. And so people immediately, that case became a high profile case because it's really weird. Someone just traveled and came to write exam. Like we know that there are insecurity in Nigeria, but I mean, what do you mean that the person lodged in a hotel and was killed in the hotel? So it became a high profile case. So everybody was just engrossed in this case, and because of that, when they filed the case in Abuja, there was uproar that no, you have to file it in Osun State where the thing took place. And so they actually withdrew the case from Abuja and refiled it in Osun State. Now, during the course of the case, the Timothy Adegoke's wife actually alleged that she was offered a bribe of 71 million in order for her to withdraw the case. And also, the brother of Timothy Adegoke also alleged that he was also offered that same amount in order for him to withdraw the case, but they decided not to. And the wife said that she wanted justice for her husband, so the case was not withdrawn. Now they continued the case. So during the case, they now discovered, when they did autopsy, that's how the pathologist now said that he died from brain, like hemorrhage. So it was like maybe bleeding or something that killed him, and blunt force. And apart from that, they said that there was a circular wound at the right side, at the left side of his body, that it was deep, that it was methodical. It was as if someone actually carved out that circular wound from his body. And so the case went on for long. In fact, it was 2 years that they used to judge the case, where the judges had to sift through everything that was happening. And of course, in Nigeria, I know there's no jury system in Nigeria, so it was just one judge that would judge the case. After the whole back and forth, finally on May 30th, 2023, the judgment came, and the judge actually pronounced that Ramon Adedoyin, that is the chief, and 3 of his staff were actually guilty of murder, and they murdered him, and they were trying to cover it up. And because of that, they sentenced them to death. That was shocking. Yeah, it was good for the masses because like everybody was, it's a very high profile case. So it was shocking the extent that the judge was bold enough to actually deliver that judgment. So he actually sentenced them to death. However, since it's a death sentence, there's room for appeal. Apart from the death sentence that the judge gave them, the judge also said that the hotel, where the hotel is, that they will demolish it and government will repossess the land. And in addition to that, for that the company or the man, the estate of the chief will be responsible for sponsoring the children of Timothy Adegoke from their house young they are to when they finish university. They are the one that will sponsor their education. However, the MD, which happens to be the son of the chief, that is Ramon Adedoyin, he fled immediately the case started, and they could not find him until they concluded the case. So because of that, there is actually an arrest warrant for him international, like Interpol is on high alert that anywhere they find him, they should arrest him because he has a murder case to actually defend. So after the case was finished, after the judgment was read out November 30th, 2023, the defendant actually filed an appeal. In January 2025, the appeal court actually upheld the death sentence that was given to Rahim Adedoyin, Abi Ramon. That was, I don't know why I'm mistaking Rahim and Ramon. His name is Ramon. So the appeal court actually upheld the death sentence given to Ramon Adedoyin and three others. However, I told you that they said the court initially said that his estate will be responsible for training the children of Timothy Adegoke in prison. Through his estate will be responsible for training Timothy Adegoke's children. The court actually squashed that there is no basis for it in the constitution, and so he's not responsible for that. However, his death sentence stands as at now. I'm very sure they would have filed a case at the Supreme Court. I'm not sure, but I think so because it's a death sentence, so there are room of appeal before the sentence can be carried out. So from the last I heard about his wife, she said that she's just managing with her family, and although the sentence cannot bring her husband back, but at least she's glad that those perpetrators that actually murdered her husband, she was able to get justice for her husband. It's really a sad case, and it's really weird because you might think that, I don't understand, like you lodge in a hotel and it's not as if it's a random hotel. Like I said earlier, it's one of the best hotel in Ife, and he's a regular customer. So he lodged and he was killed just for nothing. The father of three. So this is the end of today's case. If you like this case, or if you want to know about any other case, you can drop it in the comment section. And if you're not subscribed at this point, please do. I'm going to see you next time. Bye bye.